So welcome to the Healing Hour. We are live on Facebook now in the Dowsing and Energy Healing Closed Facebook group. And I'm with you for the next hour to answer your questions on dowsing and energy healing, to help you clear and receive a healing if that's what you need, or to help you get from where you are to where you want to be in the shortest amount of time. I am the energy healer, the illuminator, helping bring you and humanity into the light. And there's 3 ways you can join me. You can ask me questions in the Dowsing Energy Healing Closed Facebook group, and I'll try and get to answer the questions there. We'll try and go through the requests that happen on a daily basis in the group. There's 1 day for each topic, and we'll try and get through those today as well. Or you can also click the Zoom link and join me that way as well, and join me live right here. Or you can phone in toll-free 1-866-369-7464, and all that information is wherever you're watching the show now. And we have a guest, so we're just going to see who is showing up now. And it's our friend Trudy, and we're going to put Trudy, bring her in as a panelist, and there she is. Hi, Trudy. So welcome to the Healing Hour, and how are things in Australia in the early morning?
Yeah, it's a beautiful morning here. Good morning, everyone.
What's happening in your life?
At the moment, my employers have just sold all the cattle here, so I'm moving through that big transition of shifting away from the entity of being part of the entity of meat production, and that's pretty been a big a big thing for me to work through for the last probably 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of grieving that they chose to slaughter the animals, so I felt some anger towards them for doing that, and then I had a lot of grief around the animals actually all leaving the farm, and then after that there were more layers that surfaced for me that were really deep layers, like deep personal layers that sort of surfaced for me that show up even though I was telling myself that I am here and I'm a caretaker and a guardian of them and blah blah blah. There were these deeper shadow layers that showed up for me that were I'm still part of this entity and I'm still participating in it, no matter what pretty version I'm trying to tell myself. And they were ugly sort of parts to have to look into, and the parts of me eating meat and things. So that, and up until now, I'd really struggled with that whole giving, stop eating meat, and I was struggling with it and still wanting it. And then that event has actually just put it just stopped me like right on the spot, and I just don't have the desire for it now. So I can just really feel that entity sort of leaving me, even though I'm still at the farm. So, and there was a big identity, I identify with being on the land, and I've grown up doing that. So there's that whole identity shift of, am I going to be this person still that I thought was part of my identity and who I am? And so there's that moving away from my soul, and my soul just actually becoming sovereign. That feels very different.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of change and transformation, and that's been going on for a lot of people on the spiritual path since the beginning of this year. It's like whatever we were doing last year doesn't cut the mustard this year, because there's change and transformation. The energy is increasing both personally and planetary-wise, and what used to be okay for us to do is no longer acceptable. And I'm finding that right across the board, certainly in my life and in other people's lives as well. So, yeah, and so that brings up all the shadow stuff, like you said, that you thought you were being an earth steward and taking care of the animals, but the brutality of what that means came abundantly clear to you. And the shadow part of even what it is to, how they managed the farm and what they were doing as ranchers has to come through into the light as well. So are they going out of business, or what's happening?
No, they're not. They're just getting rid of the cattle on the place that I'm on, and they're just going to have farming here. So they still have another really big enterprise that they run about 7,000 head of cattle. But it's interesting that this is all happening because we've got big flooding in the north here that's wiped out pretty much all of the top of Queensland in Australia. We had big floods come in and it's killed like over 250,000 cattle. So
Wow.
intuitively, I was seeing, and the same time I was grieving our cattle going to slaughter here, I could feel all those cattle there, and just watching the media and everything that's coming through the media about, poor farmers, poor farmers. It was becoming very apparent to me that, and it felt really cold because I was kind of feeling this, everybody else is, doing, so sad for the farmers. And I thought, really, these cattle were going to be slaughtered anyway when the farmer decided. So,
Right.
really what they're grieving is their own greed, and what they have lost in money is the only thing that's being grieved and what we're seeing on TV. So I really haven't got, I've just turned all that off, and I don't really even want it going in the house at the moment.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, here we're having a cavalcade from Western Canada to Parliament in Ottawa about wanting to put in a pipeline for the oil sands in Alberta. And there's, all the poor Albertans, they're losing their economy, and we have to get this dirty oil to market. We have to do all this. But if you do a flyover of what is happening there, it's the most horrendous what they're doing to the landscape. Just absolutely gross, right? Plus, the bottom's going out of the oil market. And even if we did increase the amount of oil going to the offshore markets, it's dirty oil, right? It's not clean oil. It's very, very expensive. And in the midst of it, we have to change our economy anyway, whether we like it or not, because we need to get out of the oil economy or we won't even be able to live on this planet. So I think, this is a time in a Mayan calendar that was foreshadowed from 2012 that the truth would be revealed. And it wouldn't be that easy to have to accept the truth of the major transformations and changes we do need to make, both individually, collectively, and on the planet level. So I think that's what we're in the midst of. And yeah, we're farmers. I understand that. But if we look at the world market for beef is going down. People are understanding that they need to move to something more holistic, whether it's the way the animal is raised organically or even cutting out meat entirely or cutting back on meat. So yeah, the whole dynamics of the way we used to make money as countries has shifted.
Yeah, and I've had different little challenges pop up in front of, different opportunities showing themselves to me. And somebody come to my house the other day and actually offer and say, there's lots of jobs going in the mines. It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay if you lose your job there, because there's lots of jobs going in the mines in Western Australia at the moment. And, and then I felt into that and I was like, this is interesting. It's like, do you want to be part of this entity or this entity? Or do you want to, go and rape the planet on another level? It was funny how it just showed up to me, and then, it was like a test. And I was like, oh yeah, because I have my truck license and I have my logical mind, I have all the qualifications for that. But yeah, it was just like a big no.
Right. So I have a question for you. What about, and this is just off the top of my head, do you have any sense of still working in the cattle industry or the agricultural sector and making it better for more humane for the production of meat, or do you want to get right out of it?
At the moment, I feel like I'm done. I'm not meant to be part of this anymore. I've done a lot of work with, teaching learning how to teach your cattle to be more stress-free and move through cattle yards and things like that. So I always once thought that I would teach people how to do that, but I'm just not sure. It's not that I'm not sure anymore. I just
Right.
know that that's not part of where I'm going. So
The reason I was going this way is that on the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy are 3 courses that have to do, I think, primarily with Australia, if I remember correctly. The person who's done the courses is from England, and he was one of the past president of the British Dowsing Society. And what he's doing is doing a land assessment for farmers and ranchers, location of wells, how to purify the wells, how to degauss or remove geopathic stress from barns and farmyards and all the rest of that, right? And how to increase production in a more holistic way, whether it be crops or animals. So anyway, that's available if it's something that you're interested in pursuing, right?
yeah, well, that's very interesting that you say that, because this weekend I'm heading down to the Coorong, which is the mouth of the Murray that comes in from the ocean, and I'm heading down there to the Aboriginal dancers are heading down there to start a healing on the Murray, because the Murray River's in a lot of trouble at the moment. So I'm going down there to be part of that and do some healing work myself there. But I was in Adelaide the other day, and the big beer brewery is built on top of a big bore, water underneath the ground there.
Yeah.
And we went to get water the other night, and because I don't live in Adelaide, but I was just there with a friend, and all of a sudden I was like, and I didn't have anything to douse with. I just had a necklace, some beads hanging in my car. So I hopped out and did some dowsing with the water there, and the water was only like 30%, 30% healthy for humans to be drinking. So just working with the water there, water keeps showing up to me, and it just keeps coming to me. So I do feel like I'm going to do something with water. So whether that be, working with farmers, and even the guy that was the agent that was buying the cattle the other day, it was funny because he's very tough sort of guy, and then he was there talking to me about water and finding water under the ground. So it keeps coming to me, everyone that speaks to me about it, but I feel really drawn to working with water.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm working on a project for veterans in the U.S. So it'd be Army veterans coming back from the war. And it's going to be a land-based project, so I will be in the midst of dowsing water there. It's in the high desert country. So, but I just did a preliminary look at the land intuitively, and it seems like there'll be water available. So that will be interesting. So there'll be a whole group of people coming together on this land to do a whole program to help bring veterans back into civilization, so to speak, help them with their healings. They'll be working with horses. There'll be agricultural component to it. We'll be doing superfoods that will be marketing to the local chefs in town. And so we're at the beginning of this project. It's 160 acres. Quite excited about it, and we'll see how that develops. So looking for water and doing land mapping and geomantic mapping of the land will be the next big step. And that might be something that you're interested in as well, because you've already have the skills of stewardship, learning the skills of geomantic mapping and looking at the energy of the land and how you can help farmers or ranchers understand how to read the energy from the land and what the elementals want, and how to work in more harmony with the angelic kingdom and the living organism of the land. I think is a very powerful thing that we're being asked to learn as earth stewards, because it's part of the planetary healing process that we need to help the earth go through.
Yeah, Tyson, I have a question around that. The book that I'm reading at the moment, speaking about subterranean waters moving underneath of your bed.
Mm-hmm.
And the disease and things that causes, or pushing waters. And it's talking about moving. This is what sort of is the little challenge in my mind at the moment around moving. So in the book, it all talks about moving the location of the bed to a different location in the room. Mm-hmm. So do you think that it's possible to ask to shift the waters?
Yeah, well, first of all,
they won't move for us.
Yeah, first of all, water is like the lifeblood of the planet, and it's a living force. And all elementals, particularly water, want to work with humans. And in fact, I don't know if crave is the right word, but I'll use the word crave to have that human interaction. So part of our responsibility of Earth Stewards is to learn how to commune with and work with the elementals because they welcome it. So when we were more deeply connected to the fairy kingdom before we separated out into the human kingdom, we had all those abilities. Like we were really one with the elementals and worked closely with them. And that's what in some cases we call magic nowadays, is when people have that fae or that consciousness, that fairy consciousness, they can connect with the elemental forces. So to get back to the water, if it's brackish or stagnated or is held up underneath the ground and can't flow, then it's going to be a negative force that's going to drain your energy. If the water is flowing, it can be a vitalizing, energizing, positive, enhancing energy. If the energy of the water is coming together and creating a dome, then it can be overly powerful for the person on top of the dome, but it can create a sacred site. So it all depends on what the water is doing and what relationship it wants to have with humans. So that's the first thing. Secondly, so is it positive? Is it negative? Secondly, yes, you can move the bed if that's the appropriate way to do it, but you can also talk to the water, ask the water to move as well. The water can move to the right, it can move to the right, it can go deeper underground, it can go any direction to relieve any negative influence where the person sleeps. The important thing is always to let it go back to where it was, because we have no idea or understand the greater picture of why that water is flowing that way or where it wants to go, what sort of service it's providing to the overall consciousness of the landscape. So yeah, absolutely. I don't call it water witching anymore. I call it water enchanting. So I literally enchant the water and have a conversation with the water and ask it what it wants to do and how it wants to work with it. And I've had water literally basically appear out of nowhere, willing and able to work with it. One more comment around that. My friend who was a druid who has passed on recently, Ivan McCabe, does standing stones. So he would do standing stone circles. And he would say, one of the primary places to locate the standing stones is where, there's a star of the water courses coming together. But he said, even if there's one water course there, as soon as you put the standing stones there, it attracts the water and it will form its own energy dome. So that really is part of the equation, is that we can call the water and make the water come to us, and we can commune with the water and help it help us. So I've seen that happen with bringing wells that are 2 gallons per minute back up to really production wells by talking to them. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a whole bunch of clues about what you can do with water.
Yeah, is there dowsing charts and things just around water, or is there somewhere that I can access charts to start to work with the water?
I just treat it like another consciousness, as if it was in the living room with you or sitting in a chair beside you and have a conversation with it. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, don't make it complicated. I mean, we could design charts and everything, and I'm not saying don't do that, but you don't need to. You really don't need to. You just need to treat it as another conscious being with a consciousness equivalent to yours or even stronger, and then carry on with the conversation. and you will be guided in whatever way you want to do. Now, when I'm looking for water, that's a different thing. I use L rods to do that. Has to be shown, and I can help you learn how to do that as well. And then I just count it off. Is that 100 feet down, 20 feet down, on a chart, right? Or just by counting in tens or 20, with a yes and a no. Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 40? Is it 50? Until it goes to yes, right?
Okay.
Not complicated.
Yeah.
And with L rod, I just take one L rod and I come out onto the property, and I first of all always ask where the person whose property is, where would you like the water to be? Not where is the water. Where would be the ideal place for the water to be? Because there's no use for me to find it on the top of the ridge if the house is going to be in the bottom of the valley. And it's not useful for me to find it, a quarter of a mile away if they want it over here. So I want to know where he wants the water or where they want the water. And then I can douse and talk to the water. We'd like the water to do this and this, and have water to do this and this and this and this. And would you be willing to comply, right? And so you're literally coming up with a spiritual agreement of how you're going to treat that water, how you're going to bring the spirituality to nurture that water, because it going through, I never thought of it this way, but it going through humans, right? It gets enlivened too. So it's part of its evolutionary process too. So, the higher our consciousness is, and, because we're 90% or 80%, 70% water, when we have that water and treat it in a spiritual way, we're activating that water. And even when we, pee on the ground and it goes back, that cycle of energy is building on the land, right? It's building on the earth. We're raising the consciousness of the whole water body itself. So we're part of this consciousness of Mother Earth that is in the process of rising up. So communing with water is one of the most powerful ways to bring about change and transformation in the landscape. Because without water, there can't be life. It's the lifeblood of that place. So yeah, so I just take an L rod out once they say that this is where they like it, and I just with one L rod sweep the landscape and show me, will just point in the direction, then I will walk until the L rod goes right angles, and then I know I fit the stream, right? And then L rod will open up as I cross the stream, and then it will close on the other side. And then I stand in the center and say, is it going this way or is it going that way? And then I start to ask, well, how deep is it, right? First question is, I always ask for potable water. And I always ask if there's sufficient to do whatever they need the water to do, whether it's to farm or irrigate or whatever. Otherwise, I'm not interested in 2 gallons or 1 gallon. I'm interested in locating enough water to do whatever needs to be done on that land. So I think you can see from that it's not very complicated, right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that sort of narrows it down a lot for me, because I've got so many questions going through my head, but that just wiped a lot of the questions out by that, because that narrows it down. If we want to go hunting, we want to hunt a certain thing. We don't want to be hunting ants. You could be finding anything like, that narrows it down for me. Yeah. So actually ask directly what we're after.
Exactly. They say exactly what you want. Make that arrangement. You're really clear why you want the water. What is the spiritual arrangement you're going to make with the water? And you're the go-between the landowner. And the more that they understand the spiritual nature of what you're doing, the more abundantly the water will respond. And I've had people do ceremony over water that smelled like gas and come back and later and tell me it's not crystal clear. So I mean, literally, what we would call miracles, because we don't understand it, can happen with water. And I've seen it over and over again. I've had the opportunity to douse from a distance, but it's not really dowsing. I said, this is in Queen Charlotte Island, way up the coast from where I live. And she said, I'm on sacred indigenous land and I want to put a well in there. And I said, well, where do you think the well should be? So I think it'd be really ideal to have it there. So I doused it and I said, yeah, that's perfect. And I said, it's so many feet. That's where you put the well. And 4 months later, I don't know how many months later, she arrives back with this beautiful crystal, gorgeous crystal. What's this for? Well, she said, we drilled the well there and it's the best well on the island. So that's why I'm not saying this story to brag. I'm trying to say how simple it is, right?
Yeah.
That if you're in tune with what the person wants and the land and the energy, you can do it at a distance. And the other thing I've done is I've actually had people walk on my behalf. I said, yeah, you can hire me to come, but it's going to cost you my travel time and time to be on the land. And it's going to get expensive. Why don't you just tell me the 5 places that you think in your mind's eye where the water would like it to be, just number them, and then I'll douse. So I douse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, which is one. Have them go out there to that point, and then I can tell them whether to move to the right or the left, or in what direction to get it 100%, and then I can douse how deep it is. So, in other words, you can work for another human being as well. You don't need to physically be there. And you can do it on a map, and people just like, whoa, wait a minute. I want you to be here, but you don't have to be there. You can map down just as well as being on the land. Not that it isn't fun to be on the land. I mean, I love being on the land, but you don't have to be there. That's a big jump for lots of people.
Yeah, and I'm even thinking that about going down to the Coorong, even though I want to go down there and speak with the Aboriginal elders. I think I just really want to. I think my soul actually just wants to go there and be with them this weekend because they're going to start this dance from one end of the river to the other. So, yeah, but I'm kind of getting the feeling approaching it now. You don't need to drive there. You can do that from here.
Yeah, that's true.
It keeps coming to my mind.
Great for you to meet them in person. For example, with this property, we're going to do a medicine wheel on the property as soon as we get there, quite soon, so we can do a ceremony. But Swami already visited the property intuitively, right? And did ceremony and constructed the medicine wheel and did ceremony already.
That's really exciting, isn't it, that you're able to do that? But and your mind actually tells you that you can do those things. Like it's already started to tell me this week coming up to it. So you know that it's totally possible, but we just actually want to do stuff in the physical because that's
how we're told that. It isn't physical, it isn't real. I was just coincidentally listening to Harold McCoy, who's one of my favorite master dowsers who's passed on now. I just happened to have the link. Somebody had ordered the video, I think it's 797 on the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. And it's him giving a lecture, and he's talking about assemblage points is one of the things that he's talking about. And his whole thing is keep it simple. Yes, you can read the book. Yes, you can figure out if it's this way and that way, it means this and that or whatever. Or you could just go ahead and do it, right? Take the assemblage point and know that when you take it out that you're going to correct it, put it back in. You don't need to know all the background. If you want to learn all the background, you can. There's nothing wrong with it, but you don't have to. You can do all of this energetically. And it was good to hear that because that's what I teach people is keep it simple. But sometimes I think, well, maybe they should, learn the protocol or read this book and all these, parts. And no, you don't have to. If you can allow yourself to do it, you can do it.
What I'm finding is really interesting is I have some female teachers, and what I notice and what I really appreciate about you and having those two having two male and female teachers, they teach me how to read angel cards and things like that, and that we have to be so respectful and ask and please and that's that feminine softness, and that we have to ask and be very in tune. And it's nice to be like that. But what I really appreciate about you is this authoritarian and this cutting through. It's like when I speak to you, it's like all this airy fairy, and then it's like, no, just actually ask for what you want, be very direct and to the point. And that doesn't mean being being very masculine in a disrespectful way. It's actually just asking exactly what you want. And I think the feminine, lack that authoritarian, action. We just don't have that action. So when I call that inside myself and just sit with that and go, because there's an unworthiness there as a female, I feel that unworthiness, like, do I have the right to do this? And sometimes even when I do healings, what I'm being shown that I can do, then there's that little challenge in my mind that goes, who the hell do you think you are to think you can do that? So I know that feels like an unworthiness on my masculine side.
Well, that's why you coming onto these calls is so important, because to me, dowsing is a lineage. What I've learned is like from Harold McCoy, and listening to Harold McCoy today he's talking about how he learned and how he was all left brain. This stuff made no sense to him, and he had to do all this studying, and it was very complicated, and he learned how to bang rods into the ground to move energy, and it all had to be analytical, scientific, rational. And it was only by meeting other master dowsers and seeing how they did it energetically that he would allow himself to be imbued with that consciousness and say, basically, he can do it, if Raymond Grace can do it, I can allow myself to do it. That is a dispensation or a lineage or a golden thread. By watching that Raymond can do it and it's okay and it works, it allows you to then have the courage to know that if he can do it, you can do it, right? Am I making sense? So that's the value of you showing up and saying, well, if he can do it, right, then there's no reason why I can't do it. And the really beneficial healers, energy healers I've been around, will turn to me and say, in the midst of doing something complicated, like one First Nation was actually doing removing, using the Filipino, going in to the body and removing things energetically. She just turned to me and says, you can do this. And that's all I needed to hear. You could do that. She just granted me permission and sort of dumped me on the shoulder. I hereby give you permission, and I understand your energy field so that you can do it. It's just that simple. If you are willing to allow yourself.
Yeah, it is. It's just amazing when you actually have somebody to lead and show you that, that's totally fine. And it's just that it's actually, it feels like permission to me, or.
That's what it is. Yeah. It's permission to yourself to stop that mind chatter that, I'm not worthy, or I have to study, or I have to do this, or it would be okay if I do ABC, then it's okay. Never mind all that. Hi, Runus. Welcome to the tribe.
Hi, Dyson. Hi, Trudy.
Hi, Runus. I love your videos at the moment.
How is your progression, Trudy? How is your progression? I see you start sensing more and more and then start enjoying everything.
It's really good. I'm learning so much, and and just what Tyson was speaking about now, just that actual permission and just really allowing myself to fully, just be and just receive the messages and shift, but I have to shift and just actually really cut through all of that.
I'm very happy about your progression, and I want to tell people who are watching right now that what Trudy did, very important thing, she got stick with one school. For example, she chose as a mentor Tyson, which is a great mentor and a teacher, and she building the foundation for her future dowsing experiences and future journey, because we're all going to be very, very unique dowsers. And you, Trudy, will be very unique dowser. You're not going to be just a Tyson, but you're going to have a Tyson foundation, which you're going to explore. Based on that, you're going to explore your specific skills. For example, I'll give you this Canadian, so I'll give you an example about the hockey player. And imagine they have to go through this certain, twist and runs and tricks how to do. They're building the foundation. But then one of them is a crippled guy, right? His left leg is shorter than the right. And he is able to do some kind of things which nobody else can. And he suddenly becomes a star. So that's how we're going to explore our weaknesses or strengths in the future after we build a foundation. And it's very good when you stick with one school, and it's very big mistake when people trying to just follow the intros from one school, another school, the third, grab chat from somewhere, get from somewhere, and they getting lost, and they don't have the foundation which they can build the house of housing knowledge house. And I'm glad you stick with that, and you see the progression, and you see how opening everything for you, and we're going to move on. I just want to express one thing. I saw already some people talking about connection with the spirits from parallel dimensions. And again, I want to express Tyson's care about it, because recently he posted about the information about the demons, about how being souls being attacked and they refragmented and so on and so on. And I urge you people to read this, and I urge you not to communicate, especially those who are at the beginning stages of the dowsing, because you guys sitting, basically dowsing is a flying sausage compared to the any other. It's so many buttons and tricks to do that, and if you're gonna be disrespectful with that, you'll be in a big trouble. And all those entity possessions and all the danger that's related to that is very real. It's very real. I experienced it myself. I saw people, when the three experienced healers trying to help a family and they can't. It's very sad to see people go, into the hands of dark matter. And
yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've had one lady come on, and she said, "Can you help me with a depossession?" And she said, "I've been working with a Catholic priest, and he's done an exorcism, and it felt okay for a while, but it has cleared up." And I said, "Well," I just happened to say, "Well, how much did you pay for that?" And she said, "I paid $15,000. Not $1,500, $15,000. And so the point is here is that there's a lot of people out there saying that they can do all sorts of different things, right? And take people's money, and they really don't know how to do anything. And like you say, Arunas, they can create more problems than solutions. So, yeah, there is a precautionary note, not only in somebody going and asking for assistance. Please check who it is you're going to work with, so that you're not working with those that are taking advantage of you financially or spiritually, which is even worse, like from the dark side. They're literally sucking your energy or taking advantage of you. And yes, we need to be careful in having a basic underpinning that we understand what it is that we're getting into. And a new arena that's coming up, which is really quite disconcerting, is through video game. And the technologies that are being used to literally put bots into phones and into TVs and all the stuff that's high level tracking and 5G and all that. Literally, we're now at the level since 1967, but now with 5G to literally have voices in people's heads. And this is really pretty scary stuff.
I would recommend you people to use the charts just to check. You're working. Just imagine anything is a potential connection. Let's say you have a gaming group. It's a potential connection. You have, because the humans, 3 humans create already a united consciousness, so to speak, organized consciousness. And that organized consciousness starts acting as a certain, so channel for us. So that sometimes we can feel intuitively what we're gonna talk, or just feel sense of the other humans' problem. For example, family, consciousness, and so on. But you have to check, for example, because you have to check for the entity's ability to use those channels.
Yeah.
Because you just simply can ask: Is that united consciousness or collective consciousness of, for example, gaming group? Is that acts as a channeling provider for the entities to connect to me?
I think that's a really important point. Wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name, or not even in my name, there's more energy. So a collective working together positively or negatively, what I mean by that is either, they're working for the liberation of souls or for the bondage of souls. The power in the group is really dynamic. So what you're saying, Arunus, is when you're tapping into a group, we really, really clear through dowsing whether this is bondage or freedom. Is this the path of sovereignty, or this the path of bondage? And because it's really hard to know that unless you do the dowsing. It can sound really good. It can be very exciting. There can be lots of gifts and lots of awareness, lots of and excitement in the group, but you could be going down the wrong path. And like you say, there could be many, many not so beneficial entities attached to that. And in fact, this is a new way that attachment is occurring on the planet, is through gaming and through 5G and through mind control. So this is the new way of doing possession, rather than having lower level entities that you create or subvert that then go as minions and do the work. That's giving away to the technological way of doing possession. So we're in a new age, a new way of doing it. And we just need to up our ante in the sense of understanding this and teaching people how to raise their vibrational energy so they're no longer on that wavelength and no longer susceptible.
One of the things I want to reveal right now, which maybe not many people I see know about it, that we have a certain connection already, certain channeling abilities. And one of them, we have a channel of information, which is active. We all have the channel. Because we, on intuitive level, we have so many different levels how we channel the information field, that we are always connecting with information field. And information field, those layers are multiple. There can be informational field of humanity consciousness, informational cosmic field, information earth field, and so on and so on. And we exactly channeling unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens, we already know, and there is a mentioning in so many groups right now about entities downloading or fragmenting information on us, or downloading the specific programs to manipulate us or manipulate our mind, our relationship with divine world. Mm-hmm. And you can check also the infection of the information channel, and how much pollution level of information channel to anybody on yourself. Just I before I pass this chart, or for the group, you can find it, and in that chart you see, or you can create your own the percentage chart. On the percentage chart, just go and check the pollution of your information channel.
Right.
And channels, remember, any channels go on both ways. So you channel go from you to the information field, and from information back.
Right. So let me do a commercial break here just for a sec here. This is Tyson Bannigan. This is the Healing Hour, and come and join us. There's 3 ways you can join us. There's Arunas, and there's Trudy and myself, and we're here to answer any dowsing energy healing questions or help you with any clearings if you'd like to show up. There's 3 ways you can show up. You can type in your comments and requests in the Dowsing Energy Healing Closed Facebook group beneath where you're listening to the show, although it's hard for us to get there because we get really excited by talking to each other. So if you really want to make sure that your question gets answered, then just click the Zoom link, which is in where you're watching the show. It's in description of the show. Click that and you'll join us live right here on Zoom. And last but not least, you can phone in toll free in North America, 1-866-DOWSING, or that's 1-866-369-7464. So come and join us. Be part of this conversation. All right. So we're back. So who's the little one you got there, Trudy? Who's your little visitor, Trudy?
This is Nyla.
Hi, Nyla.
Say hi.
Hi.
This is my
voice. Where's that voice coming from anyway? She's cute.
Yeah, this is my little granddaughter. She was 5 months old yesterday.
Wow, she's a cutie.
Yeah. Her mum's just vacuuming the house at the moment, so she just come back from her walk and popped her in here in the pram.
You look so young. If you would tell that's your first child, I would believe. You look so young. I'm telling you.
Welcome to the Healing Hour. Who are we talking to? And it's Valerie. So welcome to the show, Valerie. So what's up in your life?
It's snowing. Is it snowing where you are?
Yes, it is snowing where I am. It's not snowing in Australia, and it's probably not snowing in Florida where these other 2 people are. But yes, it's snowing here, and it's snowing where you are too. So
yeah.
So what's up? How can we help you today?
I think I sort of just came in on, I forget his name, the gentleman there.
Oh, yeah, Arunas? Yeah.
Yes, he was speaking about informational channels. So maybe you can clear mine.
Clear your channel? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to have Arunas use his chart to see what's going on. So do you want to check in with this lady?
I have to tell you guys, the way I work, I usually work with directly with an individual or through the pictures. That's the way I do, because I work directly to subconscious with individuals, and I train that way. And another thing about the channels, it's the way I look at this is the same. If you would look at a headache, for example, you have a polluted channel, right? But the reasons behind it, why you have it, it could be many of them. It could be an entity. It could be your karmic problems. It could be the programs. And programs, I read about the programs. They say if you have 8 programs, then each program has an individual code, a numeric code that could be translated into the letters code. It's not as simple as it looks from the beginning. That's my approach, and unfortunately, I cannot do it, like give you a pill from the headache, like a Tylenol let's say, and you're not gonna have a headache but you're not gonna feel the headache. But actually, it's you're gonna have a problem remaining, and that's how it is.
Okay.
So
It's
I
very
want
complex.
Can you just give me a general clearing,
yeah. So I want to ask you a question.
please?
All right. So when's the last time you had a glass of water?
Not too long ago, and I have one here beside me. I always have one beside me.
Okay. Drink that glass of water right now.
Don't laugh. The glass is empty.
All right. Let me just check. Okay, good. So you were dehydrated. So for you, it has a really strong adverse effect on your energy field. So I'm going to use some really technical terms. When you feel wonky, you understand the technical term wonky?
Sure.
Yeah.
I have some water now anyway.
Yeah. So when you feel out of sorts, the first thing I want you to do is drink some water and see if you feel better. You're needing a lot of hydration at this time to flush whatever's going on. So you're going through lots. Are you going through lots of change, transformation? Are you? Probably. Yeah. So drink more water. Then that will really help. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that should get you up and started and get you back on track. You're good to go right now. You're 100% back on the money. So good for you.
Thank you.
So drink water.
Oh, yes.
All right, bye for now.
Okay.
Yeah, the only reason I knew that is I have, been doing this long enough that I just am told intuitively what's going on. So, but I used to have to use graphs and all sorts of things and charts and all that. And I'm still very much in favor of all that. But I am also blessed at times to just be told what's going on. So. And it's interesting that hydration can really throw off our whole way of being. Sometimes we can interpret that as being hungry, or that we have a headache, or we're out of sorts. And I can't remember what I could douse, but I know that many diseases and disorders can be attributed to improper hydration. Let me just see. So yeah. So let's do the population of North America. So according to my dowsing, about 50% of the population of North America is not hydrated correctly, which means underhydrated. And most of people think that, if I have a soda pop or I drink coffee or I do drink tea or fruit juice or whatever, I'm hydrated. No, it's different than drinking water. A lot of people say to me, but Tyson, I don't like the taste of water. Yeah, but water is what flushes your cells, hydrates your systems, and removes the toxicity, especially if you're going through a lot of duress, tension, crisis, change, or transformation. You need to drink more water. So that's my little soapbox for today. Drink more water. Flush your system.
Tyson, I have one idea to expand what you're doing about as Earth Steward when you're cleaning energy and this April 22nd will be Earth Day. April 22nd, Earth.
Okay.
And my idea and your command, let's unite all the dowsers from all the groups on that day to clean Earth energies.
Sounds great. All right.
And besides that,
Yep.
those dowsers communities could ask other healer modalities, let's say Reiki healers, prana healers, you name it, from all over the world, at the same day, do the clearing for the Earth.
All right. That's a good one. So let's do it. So April 22nd, what day of the week is that?
It's a Monday.
The Monday. Okay. Okay. Let's do it. Like we could do it the same time on a Monday, for example, and let everybody know.
Let everybody know, and or we can start like a new year rolling. The Australia starts from Japan, whatever, and it moves all day long, cleaning for 24 hours, and working on earth cleaning negative energies and clearing from the negative aliens and entities and whatever we can.
All right. I work with the.
Oh, sorry. Why is it on that day and that date, Arunas? Is there anything significant about that date?
It's Earth Day.
Okay, so there's
symbolic. If you gotta enter Earth Day, you'll see Earth Day 2018 is on Monday, April 22nd. It's a symbolic thing, but just my suggestion, because the symbolism of Earth Day and make a tradition when all healers from all over the world cleanse the earth from the negative energy.
I like that. So I'll talk to the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing Consortium. We meet on Saturday. They're also involved in a water healing group on watershed. So I'll talk to them and see if they have anything in mind and see if we can join forces with what they might be doing. And if not, we'll come up with something jointly, create the graphics. So I'm pretty sure they're going to want to join. I know they're going to want to join us. So they may have something in mind. They might have already started the graphics. And if they do, we'll jump on board with them.
And we can really make Tyson, make a movement, when we start working in that direction, it's going to be a movement. And to feel it, just for example, when we can do cleaning right now, do some cleaning with the Tyson together, and just to experiment for the people, the movement on your pendulums. When you're joining, you're going to see how much power it instantly connects. That's what they're talking about collective consciousness. The collective consciousness of dowsers going to connect and instantly start spread this. It's not just in one location. It's going to spread all over and create a movement around the globe.
I like that. So, and we could even measure it on the Bova scale, which is like a spiritual scale, and see where we are energetically earth-wise before and where we are energetically earth afterwards.
Yes, exactly.
So that would be fun to do too. All right, so I am making a note to talk to the Sacred Evolutionary Dowsing people, the water people, and also to our meditation group too, which is their goal is heaven on earth. So they would want to be participating as well. So those are the three groups I'll reach out to. And
I work with my dowsing people on the healers group, which I know, and spread the word of healing earth and earth energies on Earth Day.
Okay.
It'd be a nice, happy birthday to Earth.
I like it. I like it.
Besides that, we're gonna promote dowsing throughout the world, and trust me, those messages, those actions, are gonna spread like a tsunami wave, and information's not gonna stay unnoticed.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, there seems to be a real interest in this in Russia with dowsing. So I don't understand what that's all about, but that's happening. Certainly, the Canadian Society of Questers is a dowsing group here. We're having many, many requests from Russia wanting to know about dowsing.
Well, Russians, I'm a offspring of Russian dowsing school, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I learned from them, and I learned other dowsing, other modalities from Russia, and they are very, very deep into that. And also they're very deep from scientific point of view. They test it with the doctors because it's less regulated. So, and because of less regulations, they can do a lot of experiments more freely than in, so to speak, more advanced countries like United States and Canada. So, but the thing is with the Russians, they think they are like center of the earth. Then not many of them speak English, and it's kind of closed society, so to speak.
Mhm.
Even we have Russians living in Canada and United States and Australia and all over the world. Those people speak foreign languages, but when you go into Russia, just for example, my teacher, he's so advanced in so many, it's huge knowledge in medicine and so on and so on. He doesn't speak English. He said,
Right.
I would love to bring you here to do some seminars or whatever, but how are we going to do it?
Right. Well, just need a translator.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with the Dukabar people. Do you know about the Dukabars?
Not familiar with that one.
They were from White Russia and had to leave because they don't bear arms. So they're a pacifistic group and were given asylum to come to Canada probably in the late 20s, early 30s, and so they were communal. They lived communally, and where I grew up, they were farmers and lived communally, and I got to be a part of the wind down of their heyday and learn how they lived and how they grew vegetables and managed their farms. It was really an eye opener for me. And really part of who I am is that more tradition of egalitarianism, living communally, sharing resources, living close to the land, being earth stewards, a simple spirituality of soul bread, and just really beautiful people. So it was anyways part of who I am. Right?
Russians were pagans. Paganism was very deep in Russia. And I'm Lithuanian. So Lithuanians were the last pagans of Western Europe. We were, baptized a little bit more than 1,000 years ago. And also kind of into those energies and for me, Russian culture is pretty very well understood. Besides, I'm fluent in Russian language, so for me, it's easy to communicate with them. And
lucky you, I got invited to Russian school when I was a kid, but going to another school after school was at that age was something I just my head couldn't comprehend. But I do remember learning that Russian alphabet on the blackboard and the old ink trail and the old oak desks and everything.
By the way, do you know who is most advanced in energy? How to say manipulation and working with the energies and consciousness? KGB.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
It is absolutely true. The major schools they came from the KGB, and the KGB a long time ago, maybe like 20, 30 years ago, they were started to collecting information from India and China, and they started to opening those layers, and right now. I know with assurance that, let's say, Putin's security team, it has a whole department of people running, all kind of programs on the subconscious level and protecting him from that kind of regard, from all kind of crooks, courses, from anything. It's a lot of people working in that regard.
Yes. I can believe that. I mean, I think for me, understanding the Russian Slavic bear, the motherland of Russia, the energy is very similar to the energy of the motherland of Canada. We are more pure, and I don't mean that. We're more pure in the sense that we don't have the history, so we're not as encumbered as say the Russian spirit. The Russian spirit is a much more ancient aspect, but we share the tundra, we share the shamanic backgrounds as the Russian people. And so to me, I feel very close to that as well. Not that I can speak the language, but I see it and I feel it. Also, I see it and feel it in China, in the old China. There's still that energy as well, which is really the basis of where dowsing comes from. It comes from that animism or that totemism of knowing that you know when you know. See if that makes any sense. It's just an inner, it's an ability to commune with nature, and it's somewhat. I think it's in our DNA to some extent.
I think it's in somewhere in that information field, somewhere when we're tapping in it, and all the knowledge we have through those information channels. We have through all many connections and on different levels of our psychic abilities, and we just pulling out we want and learning from each other. And that group I started already. That's the idea. Also, it's about not holding some information within me, or not allowing somebody to share. I want everybody to bring some kind of ideas of how to deal with those things and teach people, because I truly believe that we have to teach people, and people must learn how to clear themselves from negative energies, how to clear themselves from negative emotions, from all the negativity. And when we're gonna do this, then we're gonna become very, very powerful.
Absolutely, it's the collective that will bring about the change and transformation. And it's that's just how we bring heaven on earth. Is we learn first of all to clear ourselves, and help clear our families and clear our ancestors and our soul family and our star families and our lineages. And when we do that, we've gone back 8 generations, and that as we go clearing 9 generations in the future. When you add all that up, we're into, I don't know, maybe hundreds of thousands. I don't know what the magic figure is. But in the Bible it says 144,000. We know that it's going to take a little percentage. We don't need all 8 billion to wake up. We just need a percentage to wake up to bring about transformation and change in the planet. And to me, this is the work that we're involved in. It's helping people remember who they are, that they're sovereign human beings, that they're God's incarnate. And if they remember who they are, they have incredible powers to bring that change and transformation and create a new heaven and a new earth. And why not?
So let's do it. Let's do that. The April 22nd, Earth Day.
We're going to do that. All right.
International Clearing Day.
Yeah, the Earth Clearing Day. Okay, we're past the hour. Thank you, both of you, for showing up as ever. It was fun to play with you guys and share ideas. And thank you both for showing up. And I hope you both have the best week ever. And we'll see you same place next week.
Okay.
And to you, Dyson. Bye, Trudy. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. God bless everybody. See you later.
Bye, baby.
The Healing Hour, brought to you every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the show, you can phone in toll-free in North America, 1-866-369-7464 or 1-866-Dowsing. The Healing Hour is live on Facebook, hosted by the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy and sponsored by the Facebook page, The Healing Arts Academy. Produced by The Wellness Show, and until next Tuesday, same time, same place, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.